So, back in the olden times when I was a wee lad treading through fine waters within my first few years of playing video games and keeping up with video game news like from a Game Informer, Adult Swim commercials, or MTV commercials, I got all my video game news from my cousins, friends, or my dad, and they all knew I was into very specific video games. Video games specifically in the military and stealth action genre. If you got my cute little ass anything that was involving hardcore military or hardcore stealth, I would start squirting my little gamer gunk juice all over the fucking place, drenching anybody that was near me. This was also the era of video games where the piss filter was running so fucking rampant, and if you had an Extreme X-Rocker gaming chair, you were drowning in poontang, and everyone watching this video knows exactly what I'm talking about. The early 2000s gaming chair with the speakers on either side of the headrest that was so unbelievably bad, it would bass boost your cranium first, then you would hear a faint peaking of what seemed to be a Macintosh trying to render a single 2 gig JPEG of some titties 3 seconds after getting MW2 flash concussioned. I mean, at that time, it was the time to be alive. Also, these were the years where if you had a projector in your house, you must have been selling some fucking heroin in the back of the elementary school campus, because you were considered royalty if you had a projector as your main device to watch or play any sort of media. But around this time in my life, I was mostly death gripping an Xbox 360, an original Xbox, and a PS2. So before we get into anything, I'm gonna put a timestamp up on screen, so if you want to skip this part, you can, but this is going to be an explanation on why I didn't want to play the Splinter Cell series at the time. This was the point where Ubisoft just dropped their first trailer for Blacklist, and Splinter Cell Double Agent and Splinter Cell Conviction were overshadowing all the other games in the series. Now, when I was a kid, I would always go into GameStop, Best Buy, or occasionally pop into Level Up Games, and I would ask around these stores if there were any new military games or stealth games. Of course, they would say yes and show me some of the newer games and the older games in military genres and stealth genres. Now, I was a frequent customer, so the employees would see me and know exactly what I was looking for. Now, each time these employees would show me a military or stealth game, it was always different except for Splinter Cell Double Agent and Conviction. Now, don't get angry and say you should have asked if there were other games in that series. I did. All of them said there were only these two. Why? I have no fucking idea. Now, if none of you know what I'm talking about, these were the game cases that they would show me. Even back then, this did not scream fucking quality. I remember saying to one of the employees, his name was Thomas, I said, "Why are you showing me a local arcadey indie game?" See, around this time, around 6 or 7 years old, I was mostly playing games like Ghost Recon, America's Army, Deus Ex, the 3 Thief games, and Hitman, codename 47. So I had a big expectation with certain video games that I liked. If I wanted military, it was Ghost Recon, Operation Flashpoint, Arma, or SWAT. If it was stealth, Thief, Assassin's Creed, Sniper Elite, and Manhunt. If it wasn't games like those, I would immediately get it off the games list to play. But everything changed when my dad graduated gunsmithing school and gave me his PlayStation 3. Now, he didn't have a whole lot of games, so I think it was Ratchet & Clank, God of War, and Skate 1 and Skate 2. So, Future Radish here. I don't know why I did this, but I completely fucking forgot to record this part. So, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna explain it myself here. So, I was playing a few games that my dad had lying around, the fucking Ratchet & Clank, God of War, Skate 1 and 2. I was playing those games, and a few hours later, my dad came up to me and told me that that one of his friends had a few games that he didn't want anymore, so there you go. So he went out, got to his house, and this fucking guy gave me around 10 plus games, but when we got there, we stayed for around an hour and a half, by far the longest porno I've ever shot around that point. But when they were done talking, probably about, I don't fucking know, gay pornos they watched that week, we went home and I checked out some of the games that he gave me. Now, the most distinct I remember from the collection were Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, the Sly Cooper collection, and of course, the Splinter Cell trilogy. And you can imagine my surprise when I saw Splinter Cell on that game case. Jump scared me like a dead hooker not really dead. But to cut it short, I saw this and I had to play them. I played Stealth Action Redefined, mind first, then I worked my way up, and that is when I loved Splinter Cell, the first 3. Blacklist is a little bit better, but Double Agent and Conviction are just not fucking there. But as we are done with this segment, we can actually get back into the video. So what I'm most scared of when it comes to a Splinter Cell remake with modern Ubisoft is microtransactions, need internet to play, maps, stealth, and characters. Like, if Anna Grimsdottir is now race swapped to be a fucking zipperhead and Lambert is now a dirty, disgusting tranny, I don't give a fuck. The thing about it is, I don't want to begin to hear a long, drawn-out side story over my radio during a mission, where Lambert is describing how he got fucking gang raped and circle jerked onto 40 minutes before doing the actual mission, or Anna Grimsdottir telling us how her dad touched her no-no spot at her kindergarten graduation. Then right after she tells us that story, she says, yeah, that's why I use they them pronouns now instead of those mainstream pronouns. Like, fuck off. I don't give a shit. Suck my goddamn corn nuts, you degenerate. I don't care about that. Give us some fucking quirky jokes related to what I'm doing in the mission.
Wait a minute. Power spike. The lobby. It looks like a laser grid just came online.
Lasers. Lasers are so...
90s?
I was gonna say 70s. Can you please stop making me feel old?
Got bad news for you, Sam. You are old.
And have some quick side commentary about how Sam had to give back shots to some 18-year-old chick in a similar place to the one we're in. Like, I don't give a fuck about faggots, trannies, dykes, niggers, chinks, beaners, crackers, or nasty, disgusting ragheads. Just give me a good 20 to 30 hour story. I just want that. A good drawn out story that makes sense. Same goes for the map. If it's like one of those open world linear game maps like fucking God of War, I'm gonna beat a fucking puppy, I swear to God. Splinter Cell is a game made around it being linear. That's one of the things that gave players a challenge in Splinter Cells. Tight linear spaces that forced you to get creative with your environment, treating lights like a black abyss, and while an enemy is standing around, he don't even fucking know there's a fully grown man standing 2 feet in front of him. And fucking microtransactions, what in the bitch cunt kind of heroin is Ubisoft injecting to get ideas like microtransactions in a single player video game? Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Ghost Recon fucking Breakpoint. Oh wait, hang on. Oh yeah, that's right. Microtransactions make video games more fun. That's why they keep doing it. And you know what? The more that I think about it, the more fun that they are. Oh my god. Eat a fucking fat, nasty hog, you degenerate, narcissistic Frenchy fox. I don't really give a fuck if there's microtransactions in the multiplayer, if they are gonna bring back Spies vs. Mercs. I don't give a fucking rat's urethra, it's multiplayer. But if I see the first thing on the main menu, continue, multiplayer, and store, it's already done. It's an over game. Games failed. Done. Completely off. And I know you don't have to spend money on the microtransactions, but if there are microtransactions in the first menu, it means Ubisoft is just gonna prioritize the store more than the game itself, like fixing things around the game that should have been fixed already before launch. And the last thing I'm gonna say about this is needing an internet connection to play the single player video game and to download the single player video game. Why the fuck does this exist? It makes no fucking sense. How do you make a single player only video game and work internet connection elements into it? How does that work? I mean, it really is impressive how fucking retarded these Frenchy fucks are. Like, I remember getting Ghost Recon Breakpoint and not being able to play the fucking game for an entire year because I needed an internet connection for the single player. If they do this kind of ass-backwards shit with Splinter Cell, it's gonna alienate an entire wave of people because some people can afford or their internet connection is terrible, either because of the place that they live in or their internet service choices. Like, I grew up in Santa Cruz, California, so I grew up half on the beach and half in mountainous areas, so I know how unstable and ass-backwards internet can be in some places. I know I mentioned this, but I didn't really go into it that deeply. The map layout, stealth, and movement all play a part in why Conviction and Blacklist veered so far from a Splinter Cell game. I'm gonna do this in sections, so let's start off with the map layout first. It's easier, and also, this is my fucking video, so what's your bitch ass gonna do about it? Tickle my rashy asshole? The map layouts of the new Splinter Cell remake need to implement a bit of everything, like Chaos Theory with the bank heist mission. Now I know I said something about they shouldn't do the whole open world linear level thing like God of War, but it's different when you just have it for 1 or 2 missions. It just needs to make sense with what's going on in the game. Or Pandora Tomorrow with the jungle levels. I just love those levels so fucking much. They feel fresh, nice, and I just like missions that are set around the jungle. Then lastly, I would like to see levels from Stealth Action Redefined return in this new remake. Like Police Station, that was such an underrated fucking mission. That was the first mission, by the way, in the field. And Abattoir, it was such a hard mission for me to get through. I think it took around 4.5 hours my first time playing Splinter Cell. It took about 4.5 hours just trying to get past that fucking level. But it was such a good, well-made level, I didn't want to kill myself every time I died or got caught. I just had a fun time rolling around, getting inches deeper into it. Like, we need levels that let you be creative instead of the developers eluding you to a creative route or easier way to get past enemies. And now we're going on stealth. The stealth in the older titles told you to go slowly and take your time thinking your way through. Paying attention to how much sound you're making, how much you need to be in the light, timing your moves with other enemies, seeing if anybody is going to hear you shoot out a light, where you're going to put an unconscious body, always looking at your light meter, and from Chaos Theory, your sound meter, trying to determine how loud your footstep is going to be with the surrounding area's ambient noise level. We need more stealth games like that. Like, having the player pay full attention to what's going on needs to feel like a reward rather than a secondhand thought. Okay, so now we can get onto the movement, and this one's gonna get a little freaky with the Splinter Cell community. I think the movement needs to come back from Conviction and Blacklist, leaving out the cover system, instead implementing the Pandora Tomorrow cover system. Now, what am I saying with this? I'm just saying that we need to vault over an obstacle, climb a pole, or even fucking move side to side on a ledge and feel like Sam Fisher. What also needs to be implemented into this new remake is some of the stealth movement in Chaos Theory. What I mean by that is when you're crouching or standing in Stealth Action in Pandora, when you want to inch towards somebody or something, there is a set animation that plays. It's one preset animation that kind of looks choppy, and every game nowadays has the exact same thing, it just looks better. In Chaos Theory, if you're inching towards someone, standing or crouching, or even on a wall, you're progressing the animation with each frame. So now instead of the 2 animations of the same getting ready to walk, then him moving his legs, you're now walking in tandem with the progression of the animation, helping it achieve the goal of cycling through the full animation itself. I mean, it has the same walk animation as in Chaos Theory and Double Agent, but I don't know what the fuck Ubisoft did, but they made it feel wrong. It didn't really feel correct. It felt very off. Another thing I want to see in this new remake is when you're shimmying on a ledge or pole, how fast you go determines how loud you are. If you're rushing, the guards can hear you grinding against the pole, or your hands making a sound when you slap them on a ledge, or your shoes making a sound when you place them on the wall. Alright, epic transition into the Spitfire round. I want to see levels at night, sunset, or sunrise. Stop putting us in daytime levels. It defeats the purpose of the hide in shadows mechanic. Completely take out these shitty detection meters, where if the bar is full, the enemy can see you. Just have a 2-step detection phase. Stage 1, they think they saw something, so they investigate, and stage 2 is full-blown back shots. I didn't really cover this in the stealth section, so here it is. Make shadows the core element of stealth in the remake. That also goes for sound too. In Chaos Theory, we had the implementation of the first fucking sound meter, where you could gauge how loud your footsteps were and how you could determine how loud you could be, because it also showed how loud the ambient noise was around you. Missions where we can't kill get spotted, and if guards find a knocked out body, the mission ends. I'm not saying all the missions need to be like this, I'm just saying like 4 or 5 missions need to implement this, because it adds to the tension of stealth. If you don't have tension when you're in a stealth game, it won't feel like a core stealth game. End level grades and stats, we need to add this back. It was prevalent in Blacklist, but it wasn't in depth like Double Agent Down, and Conviction completely removed it. We need to know the exact stats of what we were doing at the end of the level. Levels where we can find alternative routes rather than the fucking game devs giving us immediate handholds when we get in. Just let the player discover alternative routes that were actually fucking hidden. I want to go through a level 3 or 4 times before I find another route that's actually better than the one that I just did. Now, this might be a mixed bag with everyone watching, but I would like to see the customization options come back in the new remake. I just really liked how you could switch out Sam's boots, pants, gloves, goggles, and torso. I thought it was a neat idea, but if they do end up doing that, I do not want to see stats on that shit. I hate the shitty stat meter on the fucking side of the screen. It was so cheap and fucking unwarranted. This also goes for fucking changing your weapons mid-mission at a checkpoint or some shit. Just give us the 20k and 5.7. That is it. We don't need to go fucking future soldier again for this game. But one thing I did kind of like about the weapons in Blacklist is that little crossbow pistol. It was so fucking cool. It was just a non-lethal weapon, and I think it should make a return for this game. Not a big deal if it isn't, but it would be nice. Of course, another thing that I would like to see come back in this new remake is the utilization of gadgets, and how gadgets were more heavily implied to be used in the older games. I know you don't have to use the gadgets in the older games, but in Conviction and Blacklist, I would sometimes open my inventory to change from a different gun or a non-lethal, and I would see like 4 or 5 gadget slots that I just didn't realize I had. So it just made it feel clunky, like I was hauling all this unnecessary shit in my inventory. In Double Agent Down, it was implied that you use gadgets more to get around better and more efficiently. And I have no fucking idea why they would do this, but they took out that little directional EMP launcher on Sam's 5.7, but then replaced it with a throwable EMP grenade. But the OCP would disable anything that was electric, so it served as a distraction tool and a disable device for you to get around better. So it served not one but 2 purposes. But even that's not fucking true, because when you shot a light out with a bullet, the guards would get more agitated when the light was popped by a bullet. When you shot a light with the OCP, it made them less agitated because the light would turn back on after a period of time. So it served 3 purposes in one. A big thing with the AI in the newer games was that they didn't feel like a challenge, given you were able to do more gun combat easier, but when you were sneaking around in the newer games, it didn't feel like an actual challenge. I just want AI to be more aware and a little bit more hyper-focused on what's going on around them. Because when I was playing all these Splinter Cells for the background gameplay, it took longer for me to get through a mission in Double Agent Down than Conviction and Blacklist. I just want that challenge back. If you don't know my stance on cutscenes, I think cutscenes in video games are bad when they're placed in areas where it takes you out of the gameplay too often. Metal Gear is a great example because this is a game where cutscenes actually make sense to be there. But when you have cutscenes like in Dying Light 2, you can go watch this video to know what I mean by that. In Spider-Man 2 or Splinter Cell Conviction and Blacklist, I don't want to go through the story. I don't want to play the fucking game anymore. Because if it's just going to be riddled with cutscenes, it's not really a game worthwhile. I want to go through the story with environmental storytelling, like finding documents, hard drives, looking up at a fucking TV to watch what's happening in the news. And the hard drives and documents or the TV you just watched relates to what's going to happen in the future. Why do we need cutscene after cutscene after cutscene after fucking cutscene after fucking cutscene, after fucking cutscene, after fucking cutscene. It makes no fucking sense. It's so annoying. I hate cutscenes in video games nowadays. Just have a cutscene play out after the mission is over and played through. Then when you get into a mission, you can listen to the conversation Sam and Lambert or Grimsdaughter have without worrying about a damn cutscene every time you go into a new area of the mission. It's so fucking simple. It's simple. My final thoughts on this: Splinter Cell fans are still Splinter Cell fans, and if Ubisoft wants to change major things around, it will guarantee to be the end of a garbage company. Those are my final thoughts.